So we're here today with Faizel Lakhani, CEO of Guavus. Faizel, we hear a lot about AI and machine learning. Every vendor out there seems to claim it's part of their solution. What's the reality in terms of what service providers are deploying today?
So actually it's interesting because before you get to this hype cycle associated with 5G AI ML, you've got to break down to say what does it mean exactly. And so today people have labeled everything they've got as AI ML. So what does that mean? That means things that are rules-based, they're pre-programmed and said, when you see this, this, and this, do that. Now, that's not what we consider AI ML systems for 5G service providers.
Right.
When you think about what that really is, it's the ability to take huge volumes of data without a human being or pre-planning associated to it, to be able to understand that data and to apply automated rules and automated mechanisms using math and physics against a large corpus of data to do things that you couldn't do without those type of algorithms underneath the hood. That's what AI ML means to Guavus.
So there's some sort of learning capability in it. It's not just a preset set of rules.
Right, absolutely. So when you think about learning, for Guavus, that really means being able to reason with data. So for instance, when you look at a SON network, and it's generating a ton of data. Now, of those various fields of data, a human being can sit there and say, oh, these are important, and when this happens and you see this utilization, do this. But what an AI system that reasons is able to do is say, well, right now, it looks like there's an influx of activity right in Denver. There's a conference going on, and because of that conference, there's a ton of video. And so for this period, we need to do something.
Right.
But then after, we don't. And so when you think about AI ML systems, they operate at a scale that humans can never operate at.
Gotcha. Okay. So you mentioned 5G there. Obviously, it's a very exciting development in the industry, and we're just at the start for many operators of the initial deployments. What can AI do to help in that sort of initial network planning phase, and then the optimization of all the parameters in order to make sure that the connection, the connectivity, the latency, the bandwidth is all that it's promised to be?
Yeah, so actually it's interesting because when you start thinking about AI systems, let me start with a customer example. So customers of ours come to us and say, okay, we built a SON network. And the SON network is adaptable and morphable, whether it's a 4G or 5G. Now the question is how to derive that optimization. So in the example that I was giving earlier that said you had a huge volume of traffic, the SON networks are now built for this, but they have to be told what to do. And that's where AI ML systems come into play, is because they're observing the user, the device, the machine, the bandwidth characteristics, the applications. They're combining that with location and other things in real time, as it happens. And this is how our customers are really using this, is to be able to take that and apply it in the moment as it happens.
Okay, I see. So, okay, let's say we've rolled out the networks, we've optimized, we've tweaked all of the knobs, and we're getting the latency and the bandwidth and throughput that we're expected. What's the customer going to notice at the end of the day? What can AI do to enhance that customer experience that all operators are striving towards?
Okay, so let me break that question down into two pieces. First piece is when you think about 5G, you think about what's it going to do different than 4G. And the first thing is, well, clearly latency is going to decrease, but the other thing that we're going to see because of advances in the technology of 5G is you're going to see more and more devices. So now you say, well, latency decreases, so we're going to see a new set of applications in IoT, in the network, that is now going to require much, much faster response times. So now you think about this from a service provider perspective. Say, okay, in the US, we have 300 million subscribers, devices on the network. When you start increasing the number of devices and say, how do I handle these now on the network? What's the experience? A subscriber calls and says, hey, my call was dropping. That was way back in 2000s. Now it's my experience in downtown Denver, and then I went to Chicago, and then I went to DC. My experience doesn't feel good. And what happens when experience doesn't feel good? People leave networks.
Right.
And so what Guavus is able to do is do two things in that arena. First of all, we're working with service providers, and the real use case is, for us, is they've come to us and says, we don't want to be connected to phone systems anymore. We don't want to get in front of customer support issues because somebody called us and said, I have a customer down issue, or my experience is not good. I want the network to have a 360 view of what's going on inside of it and adapts and recognizes and says, this subscriber is consistently getting poor service, and take action. But the second thing associated with customer experience is the ability to go in and say, okay, hey, I'm watching chat forums, I'm watching online forums, and I'm looking at what's happening such that I can now feed my subscribers without a phone call direct information that relates to their problem. So two things are going to change. Firstly, service providers are going to get far more proactive to be able to understand the experience their customers face and point them in the right direction, or take action immediately as it happens. And the second thing is, service providers are going to be moving more and more customer engagement and dialogue into online and other forums, and having AI systems really be the crux of either chatbots or others in order to answer and respond to these type of issues.
Okay, and presumably that can be a point of differentiation between service providers, that some might be able to do this better than others.
Oh, absolutely. So we have a service provider as a real example in Asia Pacific, and they've gone from very small footprint to hundreds of millions of subscribers in a market in which cost is the highest sensitivity. People are paying in the vicinity of dollars a month for unlimited access. And you say, well, how do these service providers, under those kind of constraints, build a network? Not like in the US where we have tens of dollars per subscriber, and we're talking about dollars. And you go, the key to that is the ability to bring automation, AI to the service provider networks, and they're using it, our customers are using it as a major differentiation, both in terms of understanding what's happening at a subscriber level, helping the subscriber being able to take action, and then to differentiate their network experience against others to retain and attract more customers.
Gotcha. Okay, excellent. Faisal, it's been a pleasure. And
Pleasure.
we look forward to more 5G automation and AI.
Thank you. Thank you very much.